journalist. He is a political analyst and a politician. Good evening. Welcome, Elvis.
Well, good evening. It's my pleasure making present here after some time. And of course, I say special greetings to the people of Gunoko village as usual, and to the people from Bengwe Central Subdivision, but not forgetting the millions of televiewers who are watching us, especially our good friends from Yaoundé and K-Town.
Yeah, what has marked you since this week in the news?
Well, this week, what marked my attention was the action put in place by the Kangaroo Court in Yaoundé. That's a court of first instance out there, as far as the condemnation of a 3-year jail term to about 6 militants of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Party, which has always been controversial at the level of judicial procedures. Another thing that marks my attention equally is the judicial request that was put in place by Professor Maurice Kamto, President-elect, that was equally rejected by the same kangaroo system in Yaoundé. Another issue that marked my attention was equally during the week, the fact that while we have been requesting for peace, as each and everyone is tired of the current situation in the Northwest Southwest region, at the same time, some powers that be equally have indicated that they too are not willing to see the peace come into place so long as it's not coming from them. That is the ruling party and the Yaoundé regime. So all of this has been issues that have always caught my attention, and I feel so worried, but then we must be able to speak out as time goes on.
Equally in the program with us is Salomon Bias. He is a jurist and militant of the CRM movement. Salomon, bonsoir et bienvenue.
Bonsoir Léonard Koum, bonsoir, très cher co-panéliste en l'occurrence, monsieur Wala et mon ami et frère
de Kangaroo System.
De Kangaroo System, avec qui j'ai toujours l'immense plaisir de me retrouver sur le plateau. En fait, je suis très content d'être sur ce plateau, ça a toujours été un honneur d'essayer d'apporter la contradiction sur beaucoup de sujets d'actualité qui meublent notre landerneau sociopolitique, essayer d'éclairer de prime abord la lanterne de nos concitoyens, parce qu'aujourd'hui, nous sommes à la croisée des chemins. Et je pense que la citoyenneté camerounaise aujourd'hui doit être dans le sens de l'évolution, parce que notre pays en a besoin, effectivement.
Okay. Equally in the program with us is Walang Abang. He is the director of Mahatma Institute of Leadership Institute.
Leadership Center, yes.
Okay, he is equally an educationist and a political analyst. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Bean. It's always a pleasure to be here, to deliberate on issues that are affecting us daily and, to be able to clarify one or two things in our own perspective that will give the millions of viewers out there, the pleasure that they always derive from watching the program. And thank you to my co-panelists and to you, who invited me here, and to all the technicians who are making this program possible on My Media Prime.
Okay, we kickstart our discussions with you, Fa Elvis Tayon. Was there need, or is there need for an independent peace commission, styled National Peace Commission, as we speak?
Well, I think that if you look at the quest for peace, which is on the leaps and bounds of each and every one, it is very evident that there is need for anything in the name of peace, anything so long as it has a good agenda and it can foster peace. Remember that in most of the countries that have been hard hit by war, you hardly get the nation arriving at the final point of peace without taking into consideration the various persons or organizations that have been clamoring for peace. And so I think that at the verge of peace, for it to effectively be attained, the voice of each and everyone, even if it's a small entity that groups itself in the name of peace, is required. That's the more reason why we said that we will look at the National Independence Commission for Peace that was to be born officially and not seeing the light of day because of the kangaroo system. It becomes a call for concern, because I spoke with a handful of some persons, and many have been wondering why it should not hold, while pro-supporters of the government say, but why should people come talk about the agenda of peace when they themselves have not been at the forefront to campaign for that peace? So at the end of it, there is some bad faith along the line, but I must be able to tell you honestly that with the present situation we find ourselves now, I am sure no other televiewer watching us here has not been hard hit directly or indirectly by the crisis. Even if you are French speaking and in your area, one thing is for sure that people have been able to understand that the economic consequences have been felt. The atmosphere that used to characterize back to school, even in littoral region and center, is not what we find now compared to the previous years when there was no crisis at all. It means that things to an extent are going the other way around because the system has refused to yield to advice. And that's why we say that no matter how we take it, the key to peace from every indication lies in the hands of the government and also in the hands of each and everyone who could contribute, no matter how small he or she could do.
What was going to be different with this commission? We have the Bilingualism Commission. We have many other commissions that have been created to try to look for peace in this troubled Cameroon.
Well, what was going to make the issue a little bit different from the others is for the fact that, one, the composition of persons that came up. Remember, when the issue of all Anglophone crisis came up, we had a handful of brothers from the 8 regions who said they are also having concern for the peace. Why should it be limited only to English-speaking Cameroonians to come and talk about peace? Meaning, some of them had seen that because many of our French-speaking people this way are related to those in the Northwest region in one way or the other. For example, a handful of my friends are French-speaking. Now, if you look at it critically, there are some, either their relatives are married or directly or indirectly with people from the English-speaking region. And so at the end of it, the meeting was creating a difference in that while others were concerned mostly by getting stakeholders from the Northwest, Southwest to talk about the issues of peace, now people like Cardinal Toomey, His Lordship Simon Clare and the rest thought that this time let them treat the issue holistically. And holistically means that you had some of the traditional rulers from the West region, a handful of them from Baboum and other like, who trooped in for that meeting. And some from the Southwest, with Muslim scholars in the Southwest and other who came together, meaning that it was now giving a facelift of a national approach, which would have made it different because according to those whom I spoke with at the meeting ground, the resolutions they would have had in the meeting with the people from the various fronts would have been able to compose a delegation that would have been able to move straight to where the target is and tell them, since as you could not get this from A or B, these are people representing from all angles of the country who think that the war in the Northwest Southwest to come to an end and we give peace a chance. That would have made a remarkable difference if that chance was given as per se. But at the end of it, the blockage that was realized along the line shows that there was some fear along the line in a meeting that already had authorization from the DO. So something is wrong somewhere.
Est-ce que vous considérez ce qui se passait hier comme une occasion? Il est bien vrai que ce n'était pas connu si ça devait résoudre les problèmes. Mais est-ce que vous considérez que c'est une occasion manquée aussi?
Bien sûr que c'est une occasion manquée. Et pour nous, acteurs du changement, et ceux-là qui ont toujours prôné la paix, ça ne nous surprend pas venant de la part de ce régime que je qualifie d'illégitime et de ses membres.
Il n'y a pas de preuve que c'est le régime qui a...
Je vais vous expliquer.
Ok.
Il faut que nous soyons clairs là-dessus. Certaines personnes croient que nous sommes dans les blagues là. C'est du sérieux que nous vivons au Cameroun.
Allez-y.
Et ce régime en place a démontré qu'effectivement, ce n'est pas la vie des Camerounais qui les intéresse. C'est leur initiative personnelle à maintenir l'inertie et à résoudre les problèmes par la terreur et la violence. Or, on dit bien que nous sommes dans un régime démocratique dont nous parler est quelque chose de très important. Je ne sais pas le sens qu'eux ils donnent au dialogue. Dans cette crise, tout le monde, les partis politiques, les membres de la société civile, les organismes internationaux, et les États amis étrangers ont parlé de la nécessité de la mise sur pied d'un dialogue. Et le commencement d'exécution de ce dialogue qui peut être implémenté par les acteurs qui peuvent être considérés comme les mendiants de la paix. Quand je plante le décor, je voudrais préciser que le professeur élu Maurice Kamto, dans son agenda et son programme politique, qu'il a présenté à la population camerounaise aux élections 2018, qu'elle a accueilli avec véhémence, et elle a démontré qu'elle a adhéré avec les résultats que nous avons obtenus, a précisé de façon claire.
Mais Maurice Kamto, non, pas
je suis en train de planter le décor, a précisé de façon claire qu'un dialogue inclusif était nécessaire. Le cardinal Christian Tchoumi, qui a longtemps précisé, de par toutes ses sorties, qu'une initiative d'un dialogue inclusif était nécessaire et que la mise sur pied d'un commencement de dialogue avec le rassemblement de tous ceux qui portent des initiatives de paix est quelque chose qui est accueilli à bras ouverts. Je ne voudrais pas citer les initiatives prises par les membres du gouvernement parce que nous avons toujours constaté que ces initiatives visent à détourner les gens du vrai débat. Nous avons constaté que M. John Kouté était allé dans le sud-ouest et a prôné la possibilité d'un dialogue que M. Biya lui-même avait précisé pour la résolution de cette crise. Ce que Christian Tchoumi avait prévu dans le All Anglophone Conference a été balayé du revers de la main. On l'a taxé d'acquaintance avec les sécessionnistes et les rebelles. Et son initiative de paix a été balayée du revers de la main. Aujourd'hui, il s'est avéré que Jean-Jacques Ekindi, qui est un leader qu'on connaît historiquement de plus de 30 ans sur le landerneau politique camerounais, a mis sur pied cette initiative en connivence avec l'imminence Christian Tchoumi. Et nous constatons aujourd'hui que cette initiative est balayée du revers de la main. Moi, la question que je me pose et que nous nous posons tous et que tous les Camerounais se posent, entre le régime en place et ses différents démembrements et la population camerounaise qui souffre meurtrie dans l'ensemble, pour ne même pas citer le cas des populations spéciales du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest, qui sont ceux qui sont hostiles à la mise sur pied d'un dialogue inclusif? La réponse à la question est tellement claire. Comment expliquer qu'un monsieur comme l'éminence Christian Tchoumi, dont la probité morale et le sens des valeurs, d'éthique, de bon sens, dans la promotion du vivre ensemble, ne sont aujourd'hui opposables à quoi que ce soit, puisse manquer une salle au Cameroun pour le commencement de la tenue des pourparlers pour une initiative de paix. Je pense que les événements qui s'ensuivent donneront raison à ceux aujourd'hui qui sont jetés dans la fosse au lion comme étant les fossoyeurs. Pourtant, ils ne sont que des victimes, comme le peuple camerounais en est victime aujourd'hui, comme tous ceux qui sont embastillés dans des prisons au Cameroun en sont des victimes, comme la population du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest en sont des victimes. Parce que c'est l'inertie créée par la mauvaise gouvernance de ceux qui nous gèrent aujourd'hui qui est à l'origine de tout ce que nous voyons aujourd'hui. Et les mêmes qui ont créé ces conditions se comportent aujourd'hui comme des victimes. Et le temps qui passe nous donne raison parce que ce côté-là qui demande comme des victimes n'est que la face cachée d'un iceberg qui ne fait que prendre du volume au jour le jour. Et je pense que tous les Camerounais verront bien que ceux qui bloquent l'initiative de la mise sur pied d'un dialogue inclusif et de l'initiative de paix, c'est ceux-là même qui sont des pyromanes d'hier et qui se comportent comme des pompiers aujourd'hui.
Walang Abang, I don't know whether you were part of that meeting yesterday. Is the problem Jean-Jacques Ekindi, who is seen as a politician, or where can we say the problem for the failure in holding that meeting of yesterday came from?
Well, Mr. Bean, it is sad. You know, I come from a country where everything revolves around one particular individual, and that particular individual is the head of state. when you see the way things are functioning in that country where I come from, all the glory is given to the head of state. It means that nobody has initiative anymore. There is nobody who does a thing without saying, rather in French they say, par le trésor instruction du chef de l'État. You know, we are used to that. So it begins to, you know, seem funny when initiative comes from another quarter in that country where I come from, you know. And this peace initiative that Jean-Jacques Ekinzi, Honorable Jean-Jacques Ekinzi, His Eminence Christian Cardinal Tumi, and the Archbishop of Douala, you know, wanted to organize to bring about peace, to look at a possibility of bringing about peace. It's a laudable initiative. But now, where is the problem coming from? Like I have said, the problem is coming from this system where everything that is done in the name of the head of state. It is some kind of, you know, personality cult that is neo-Stalinist in its nature, you know, where all the glory, one man who is almost always absent, you know, is given the glory for everything that is happening. And that is the problem with this country at the moment. Because there is a lot of inertia, as Mr. Biya says. There is a lot of inertia in this country. The pace at which things are moving is just slower than the snail.
So you think that the President of the Republic ordered for the...
I'm not saying that the President of the Republic ordered. I'm saying that, you know, his cohorts, those people who are working, you know, his collaborators, his lieutenants.
In which interest?
Nothing.
Is it in their interest or in the interest of the head of state?
It will be first and foremost in their interest. Because if you see the economy of war, they are, or many are making a lot of gains from this war at the present moment. And they think that any initiative that will bring about peace will remove food from their mouth, as we say it in the quarters. So they are doing it in their own interest. I think that the how do I put it? The initiative for peace is hardly going to work, because this initiative headed by Jean-Jacques Ekinzi and the others goes in line with what Maximilian Ngobe of the REDAC, civil society organization, preached the other day in the meeting. Says there should be inter-community dialogue. People should come and I was there yesterday. I met Mr. Faye Evis there, you know, and people from various communities came. There were chiefs from the Sawa chiefs, the Imam of Mutengene came. Many journalists were there. People who are promoting peace in Cameroon, they were there. But unfortunately, the hall was opened in front of us and they closed it back, meaning that we could not have access into the hall. It means that somebody, because they, I need to remind our viewers out there that an authorization was issued, as Jean-Jacques Ekinzi himself said, and it was issued directly to Jean-Jacques Ekinzi. So how comes that we were already there and we could not access the hall? It simply means that somebody somewhere who was hiding in the darkness, somebody highly placed, who was the superior, hierarchical superior of the DO and the government delegate, had said, no way, we cannot open that door so that some other persons talk about peace and win the glory of having brought peace, you know, to the Anglophone crisis that has stayed for more than 3 years already. And I think that it is not only the Anglophone crisis that, you know, is troubling Cameroon in terms of peace. There is also Boko Haram in the North region.
There's the post-electoral
crisis. You know, so the whole country is trembling on its feet now, and we desperately need that peace. But it looks like if it is coming from another quarters, then it will not be welcome in Cameroon, unless they will say that sous les très hautes instructions du président de la République, nous avons finalement la paix au Cameroon. And I think that's what they are looking for.
Okay, let's move over to our production studio to get the reactions of Cameroonians who came for that meeting. How did they leave the ground?
Sorry for those who are coming from Bamenda, Boya, from Tito, because we know that they are there. But unfortunately, yesterday evening, they told us that the room was not available. We didn't know exactly why. We wrote to the governor, to a prefect, to the delegates. We got no news. But I have to confirm that the SDO, the sub-prefect, gave the authorization for this meeting. But we cannot do it out of the room, and we are sorry for who will become, but I confirm that we'll continue our efforts. We'll build this peace and we'll do what we call it.
S'il y a une réunion que nous pouvons faire pour toujours le soutenir, pourquoi on refuse d'ouvrir la salle?
Et c'est pour soutenir en plus.
Mais comment?
C'est de la provocation.
La dynamique ne doit venir que d'eux. Le gouvernement, l'État a bien fait les choses. Pourquoi nous refusons la salle? Rien que la salle. Moi, j'ai fait partie du groupe. J'ai soutenu le candidat de la président Bia. Voilà même le discours que je vois. Si vous prenez ce discours, vous allez trouver que franchement, ce n'est comme soutien à la paix. Mais pourquoi on nous refuse les salles? Tout doit venir seulement des hauts de toutes les banques.
Nous remercions tous ceux qui ont pris la peine de se déplacer pour cette initiative pour la paix. Il se trouve que depuis hier soir, il nous a été indiqué que la salle n'est pas disponible pour nous. Malgré toutes les démarches qu'on a faites auprès du préfet, auprès du gouverneur, auprès du délégué, je tiens néanmoins à dissiper tout équivoque. Le sous-préfet a reçu la déclaration et a autorisé cette salle. C'est la salle qui n'a pas été disponible. Et c'est la raison pour laquelle nous nous voyons contraints de différer cette réunion. Mais je tiens aussi à vous dire que l'initiative pour la paix que nous avons engagée ne va pas s'arrêter là. Nous allons continuer à nous concerter, à nous organiser, à travailler avec tous ceux qui sont pour la paix pour que les choses reprennent dans de bonnes conditions. Je vous remercie d'être venu. Je vous prie de m'excuser avec tous ceux qui ont contribué à ça et à rester à l'écoute.
Jean-Jacques Ekindi there reacting to what happened. I'm sure he's very, very dissatisfied with the way they were treated. You yourself, you say you were there. For every stallion, you equally went there to push for peace to return to Cameroon. How independent was this commission going to be? When we say independent peace commission, it means that instructions were not going to come from anybody?
Yeah, now when you talk about the Independence Commission issue, you understand that we have had several commissions that are disguised commissions manned by the state. And so in that kind of commission, you realize that those have always been commissions that play for time while the atrocities continue. Now, when we call this independent was because if you look at the selection of those to come there.
But that's somebody who said he was part of the G20 that supported President Paul Biya.
No, I'm coming.
Okay.
When you talk about independent, somebody might have even been in another party. It doesn't stop that. Our problem here is the composition and the structure in which it was to function. Now, I have been with Judge Ekindi, had followed up most of the developments. We'll talk about independent first, the combo, as I said earlier. Now, most of the persons who came for this meeting are not the regular faces we see in peace mission meetings, as usual. That's why from those from Kumba, Mutengena, and Limbe, they had even hardly been invited in any of this kind of meeting. So, the system here was that they decided to take another approach. Apart from the usual faces that always come for peace mission and no result is taking place, let them take to put another dimension. Now, another issue that showed that it was to be independent, as I discussed with the officials clearly, was for the fact that they were to put the organization on that day on its to put the organization fully functional on that day, and then they devised means to raise their money without relying on the state. That is an aspect of independence. Because when I spoke to them, they said they had to come, if they had allowed them, they were sat there and then they brainstorm on their project after putting in place the executive committee, and then they start seeing how to raise the money themselves. Now, when you want to raise money yourself to do your project, you are independent. Then some disguised ones that are put in place today, the next day they rush down to Yaoundé to ask for money from the Prime Ministry office, from other quarters, that this is the initiative we have, but we don't have money now. But when I spoke with the organizers, they told us that they had no intention to go to the government to ask for money because the initiative is independence-oriented. And I think that if they were bringing in the moderator of the PCC, who had always been Peace Crusader, we had the Bishop Simon Cleda coming in, with Kagatumi coming in, and the imams. I think that I saw it not as people who will come from here to go and ask the state, because once you ask somebody else, like the state in particular, to assist, when you yourself cannot begin raising the money to do the job, it means you are not independent. And of course, you know that the person who gives you money determines how you work. Just like in Cameroon, France determines things in Cameroon because France finances most of the projects in Cameroon through their CD2 programs and all the like. So at the end of it, nobody will want to give his money and then sit and fold his arms when he's not sure of where the money is going to. That is the more reason why in Pan-African terms we say that Africans must learn to be independent such that you don't become beggars at all times, because he who lends a helping hand to you most at times will want to dictate. The same issue happens in Pentecostal churches. If you're in a Pentecostal church whereby you give money frequently, most of the times those ministers and directors and business persons who contribute in churches financially, they dictate the pace for the pastors to follow. Most of the time you tell the man of God this is what he should do. And at the end of it, that's why you see we find ourselves wanting. So that is the independent nature. I spoke to the officials and they let me to know that it was going to be people-oriented. And I could believe that because of the people I saw who were not even renowned politicians as per se, and all the like. Most of them were pastors, some of them were civil society activists, most of them were business people and journalists and all the like who came together. So I think that if we are talking about peace, the state should give peace a chance and let some other people try.
Bon, est-ce qu'on n'a pas assez de commissions? Il y a plein de commissions qui sont créées pour la paix. Est-ce qu'il faut encore avoir une autre? Et si on avait besoin d'une autre commission, est-ce qu'il ne fallait pas aller faire le launching à Bamenda ou à Buea?
La vérité dans cette histoire, c'est que toutes les initiatives que le gouvernement camerounais a prises ont échoué. C'est qu'il y a maintenant urgence à donner la possibilité à d'autres acteurs d'initier le débat ou le dialogue, parce que ça a dépassé ce qui nous gère. Ça fait depuis 3 ans que le monde entier appelle au dialogue. À côté de ça, le gouvernement de Yaoundé a multiplié d'échec en échec. Et nous sommes aujourd'hui en train de recevoir le bilan que nous recevons de la crise anglophone. Il y avait urgence que d'autres acteurs prennent le relais sur la faillite gouvernementale, sur son inertie. C'est tout à fait légitime. Vous avez suivi Jean-Jacques Ekindi dire que toutes les personnes aguerries à l'initiative de paix sont des bienvenus. Mais je pense que ce que le gouvernement de Yaoundé a peur, c'est que la vérité qu'elle a toujours masquée puisse reprendre surface. Parce que l'initiative de dialogue et de paix demande que les gens puissent parler des problèmes réels que nous vivons aujourd'hui. Et ces problèmes dont ceux qui nous gouvernent ne veulent pas qu'ils prennent la surface, parce que on veut enliser. On ne veut pas que ce soit connu du public. On ne veut pas que les gens sachent les atrocités et l'inertie qui fonctionne dans la résolution de ce conflit qui oppose depuis 3 ans les Camerounais face aux Camerounais. C'est là le problème. Mon copanéliste...
non, mais vous n'avez pas répondu à ma question. J'ai demandé pourquoi est-ce qu'il ne fallait pas aller le faire à Bamenda ou à Buea?
Mais attendez. Les gens de Bamenda et de Buea ont longtemps revendiqué qu'il y avait urgence à ce qu'ils mettent sur pied des commissions pour parler des problèmes qui sont là-bas. Toutes les initiatives qui ont été prises ont été balayées du revers de la main. Soit disant que ce n'était pas un problème du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest, que c'était un problème camerounais, et que chaque initiative de paix qui venait du nord, du sud, de l'est à l'est, devait être la bienvenue. Mais comment donc expliquer que les acteurs de la paix, aussi loin de Bamenda, parce qu'on peut taxer tous ceux qui viennent de là, des sécessionnistes ou de rebelles. Mais je ne crois pas que Christian Tchoumi et l'honorable Jean-Jacques Ekindi soient aussi des rebelles, au point où on puisse leur empêcher la seule possibilité de discuter pour qu'un climat de paix soit mis, pour que les Camerounais enfin puissent regarder au moins dans un sens celui de la résolution du conflit dans lequel les Camerounais tuent les Camerounais. C'est ça qui gêne.
Ok, c'est ça qui gêne.
Alors... Et au sein du mouvement pour la renaissance du Cameroun, nous avons toujours dit qu'un dialogue inclusif que les Camerounais doivent se parler entre des Camerounais
Oui, on va
et que les véritables problèmes doivent être déposés sur la table.
On va continuer après le journal. We move over to the newsroom to follow the news with Perrine Blanche.
C'est parti avec la rentrée scolaire pour cette année. Are you looking for a good school for your children come September? All road leads to the great Nelson Mandela Bilingual Comprehensive College Bonaberry, which stands tall, with a perfect and conducive environment for studies, very qualified and experienced staff, work-equipped free library services and affordable school fees. Admission for this academic year is currently going on from Mondays to Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Get your child enrolled now, for chances are limited. Le collège Nelson Mandela est situé à Bonaberry Bipele, après la paroisse Saint-Joseph. Contact. Bravo! Vous avez gagné.
Being one of more than 200 majors of HIPMAT, I am proud of my success. It all began at HIPMAT.
I am a CEO. I coach and lead a team of salespeople. I don't hesitate to tell them the vision was planted and molded by HIPMAT.
Today, I stand on a pedestal of experienced and committed lecturers. The foundation was laid by HIPMAT.
For over a decade, HIPMAT's credibility and ministerial recognition have trained more than 15,000 professionals in business management and engineering from HND to BTech, MBA, and what have you. With an outstanding partnership with the University of Bamenda for BTech and MBA programs, our undoubted commitment to your show's success is a reflection of the future you painted. The Higher Institute of Business Management and Technology, HIPMAT, a university for professionals.
Seeking a career in agriculture? Consider St. Louis Higher Institute of Agriculture, where students can build their interest in various farming systems by tailoring their study of agriculture to production, processing, and marketing agribusinesses, making them job providers and not seekers. St. Louis Higher Institute of Agriculture offers relevant practical education developed and delivered by experts and teachers who believe in teaching by demonstration. St. Louis Complex also offers through its Higher Institute of Medical Studies professional HND in nursing, midwifery, physiotherapy, pharmacy technology, medical lab sciences, dental therapy, radiology, and ultrasonography. We are located at Bonaberry Double opposite Nestle. Contact us on 678-435-138 or 677-764-674.
De l'inédit au Cameroun, le tout premier collège canadien ouvre ses portes dès septembre 2019. Performance Education Center, en partenariat avec les grandes écoles canadiennes, offre aux élèves du second cycle un cadre prestigieux, calme et propice pour des études avec des enseignants chevronnés canadiens et camerounais. À Performance Education Center, obtenez le baccalauréat canadien, vous ouvrant automatiquement les portes des plus grandes universités canadiennes et du monde via les bourses d'études garanties. Performance Education Center propose également des programmes de formation bilingue de 2 ans permettant d'obtenir un permis de travail au Canada après obtention d'une attestation d'études collégiales du Québec équivalent du BTS sous l'assistance de Performance Immigration Canada. Performance Education Center est situé à Locbessou derrière Antenne CRTV 10e avenue. Performance Education Center, visa vers le Canada et le monde.
Music like never before on your TV. My Music TV. Your musical TV channel from BT Media Group. Quality musical selection from Cameroon and Africa. Interviews, shoutouts, and TV shows. My Music TV. is the coverage and production of your musical concerts live on our channel and recorded. My Music TV is on satellite ABS3 and viewed in over 54 countries. Also on our social media platforms. My Music TV. Feel the rhythm.
Good evening and welcome to the 7:45 Prime News on My Major Prime TV. My name is Genda Pelgrim Blanche King. On our top stories, some inhabitants of Bakingili village have pledged to the head of state, President Paul Biya, to permit their chief, who is currently in detention at the Kundenge Central Prison, to travel abroad for medical treatment. The Indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon have joined the call for effective back to school in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Those were our bulleted stories, and now the news in full. The Cameroon People Democratic Party movement, the CPDM political party, has held a back-to-school rally in the Meme division with a strong message from the head of state, President Paul Biya, to ensure effective back-to-school on Monday. The event was chaired by the head of the CPDM Central Committee delegation for Meme, His Excellency Chief Justice Benjamin Etue, and Tamful Sidwan Dimbie sat through the event and now reports.
On the eve of school resumption and with uncertainty whether schools will open its doors for the 2019-2020 academic year in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, the Cameroon's People Democratic Movement Party, the CPDM, has donated school materials to hundreds of pupils and students in Meme Division, Cameroon. The 30th August event at the Kumba City Council was chaired by the head of the CPDM Permanent Central Delegation, former Minister of Justice, His Excellency Chief Justice Benjamin Etue. Parents and children braved the odds to receive school bags, books and other school materials to enable an effective school resumption on Monday, 2nd September 2019. Some students who came out with outstanding results were awarded as a means to encourage hard work in the coming academic year. The Central Committee leader called on parents, teachers and pupils to waive out fears and effectively start schools on Monday, as he claimed that the security and defense forces will be on the ground to ensure security in school campuses.
And the instructions where President Biya gave me, make I tell them and say, this gift, even if they're small, as a day, they not be meant only for CPD and Peking. They must give them for all Peking the way that they go for school.
In the presence of administrative officials, the party preached peace and called on the living forces in the division to embrace the academic year in order to build up the young brains who will be transformed to become better leaders in Cameroon.
The strong message I'm sending across is that this exercise has been ordered by His Excellency the Head of State, who is also the chairman of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement. And it is, even though it is coming under the auspices of the CPDM, it is an appeal, it is an exercise that interests all Cameroonians, Cameroonians of all convictions. And as I mentioned in my little word, I did say that the Head of State has instructed that those packages which have been distributed should be given to all children, because they are all Cameroonian children, notwithstanding the political affiliations or convictions of their parents. This is very, very important, because the Head of State is interested in all children going back to school. For the past 3 years, you all are witnesses with me that our children have not been going to school. And as a matter of fact, today, it was not a joke. Do these children still speak English? I had to break it down in Pidgin English so that they understand me. And the appeal is, if we have to place the future of these children.
Some elites and inhabitants of Bakingili village have pledged to the head of state to permit their chief, who is currently in detention at the Kundege Central Prison since 2012, travel abroad for medical treatment. Chief Ephraim Enoni, one-time Prime Minister of Cameroon, is suffering from health issues, and report says his health condition has worsened. The pledge was made today at the palace of the Regent Chief of Bakingili. They spoke to our Limbe-based correspondent, Kuma Honore, and now let's have an excerpt from the inhabitants of Bakingili.
We're very, very sorry for the incident which happened in Kundege and about our brother, Chief Ephraim Enoni. And had it been God so kind, would have died. And the present condition with him now is not in a good position. And we are praying the government, especially the head of state, to evacuate him for that treatment.
When he was beaten, when we had that crisis in Central Prison in Yaoundé, yes. They were informed that he was beaten. He was beaten and then taken to the hospital. But we have made many visits to him in the hospital. But the last time we visited him was not very bad. But of recent, we heard that he's not the best.
We, the elites of Bakingili village, here present, we are pleading on the head of state and the government in general to see into the health situation of our chief.
I beg the poor beer with government say, let us see the condition we will prepare for hospital.
Make the help let us send any place where you could go treatment, maybe we'll be fine.
The 7th edition of Impact Talks, a management and leadership program designed by Go Ahead Africa for top and middle management of enterprises, has taken place at the Castor Hall in Douala. The 7th edition had as focus how to positively influence your collaborators. Lasha Kingsley has details of this report.
How to positively influence your colleagues is the theme of the 7th edition of Impact Talks, an initiative of Go Ahead Africa Limited, designed for top and middle management of enterprises. According to Roland Kweme, who chaired the 7th edition of the talks at Castor Hall in Douala yesterday, leaders must learn to assume responsibilities whenever there is a failure.
We are in a community where people, a lot of complaining. You know, when we don't achieve a goal, we say our staff were not good. That was what I was trying to tell them, that because the participants are leaders in their various organizations. They have team. So I told them that the foundation of leadership is responsibility. Let us be clear on this. You cannot be a leader and you don't take responsibility of the failure of your organization. You don't defend your team when they are down. When something is wrong, you say, oh, these guys are useless. They're cow, they are lazy. You see people having those type of speech or shouting every time to the staff. No, I think it's essential that leaders first take responsibility of the failure. If you tell your team, if you do not work, please, I'm in charge, you will see that they will be ready to die for you.
To Happy Ndongo, a facilitator for team building, there is a great difference between a leader and a builder.
Today I spoke about the difference between being a leader and a builder. And I also talked about the fact that as a leader, there is leading, there is being the leader, and there is leadership, which is a matter of action, method, and one being able to inspire people. And we need to know where we stand the most in terms of leadership zone. And secondly, builder is really about results, because beyond all the techniques and the theory, we need to be able to accomplish tangible results for the society.
Many participants, like this woman, went home smiling.
I learned quite a lot from the seminar. I learned that there are different kinds of collaborators. There's no collaborator who's totally bad and there's none who's totally good. You would always get a mixture.
The people of Petit Point Beseke in the Bonaberi neighborhood have witnessed what they characterize as a scene of witchcraft after a certain lady was caught on a rooftop in the wake of Wednesday. Claudine Tabi was able to capture the moment and now tells us more.
The people of Beseke around the Bonaberry neighborhood got to witness in the early hours of Wednesday what they characterize as witchcraft. A certain lady who allegedly fell on top of the roof of one of the inhabitants was accused of being the reason why their children hardly sleep at night. Upon interrogation by the angry crowd, the lady said she was flying all the way from Yaoundé when she had a crash and fell on the roof due to the fact that it was down while she was still in her transformation state.
Witchcraft is the practice of dark and satanic and magical skills and power. And witchcraft has been existing ever since from the time when the devil fell down from heaven. You know, he corrupted man and pushed them into the practice of witchcraft. And witchcraft, yes, witchcraft actually do exist. There are so many, mysticism that is involved with the practice of witchcraft. Witches flying in the sky, passing through the wall, disappearing and appearing, all those are forms of witchcraft. Like ones that they say when they shoot you with bullet, the bullet will not penetrate you. That is witchcraft.
Many schools of thought and anthropological studies have described witchcraft as an attempt to control the supernatural to harm, destroy, or invoke other spirits for help.
There are so many types of witchcraft. We have, according to what we have learned, we heard of the white witchcraft, which they believe that is a kind of a good witchcraft. We had the black witchcraft, which they believe that, they are concentrated and focused in practicing in evil. And also we have heard of the Abrahamic witchcraft. But so whatever type of witchcraft it is witchcraft. And it was forbidden by God. It is not a practice of God. And so we do not have to practice it as children of God.
With regards to our case study, investigations are currently going on as police force came in to rescue the supposed witch from being mobbed by the furious population.
The chief of Batoke village, His Royal Majesty Chief Otu Molongo Omolive, has called on the population of Batoke to send their children back to school come September 2019. He made the call while presiding over the final of the second edition of the Holiday Football Jamboree organized by the Royal Chiefdom of Batoke village. Details in the following report with Kuma Honore.
The finals of the Batoke Interquarter Football Tournament was played over the weekend with Edaho FC logging horns with Wunje FC at the Government Bilingual Primary School Field Batoke. The finals was played under the watchful presence of the cup donor, His Royal Highness Chief Oto Mulungu Molive of Batoke Village, the First Deputy Mayor of Limbetu Council, Mulungu Francis, alongside internal and external elites of Batoke who came to witness the finals of the second edition of Chief Oto Molive's trophy. Both teams exhibited mature playing style and separated on a goalless draw during the first half. The winning goal of the encounter came at the second minute of the second half when jersey number 10, Alamin Emmanuel, captain of Idaho FC, dribbled the entire defense of Wunje FC to score the cutting razor for Idaho FC. The boys of Wunje burned all their calories to come back into the match, but the determination of Idaho FC to win the trophy wasted all their moves to secure an equalizer. Addressing the mammoth crowd that turned out to savor football made in Batoke, His Royal Highness Chief Otu Mulungu Molive thanked the organizing committee for the efforts put together to ensure a successful tournament. He added that the main objective of the tournament is to identify football talent and skills to represent Batoke Village in the prestigious Limbe City Council Holiday Football Jamboree and why not form a third division.
I am very, very impressed and happy for their maturity. You see the way they play, they respect the rules of the game, they respect the referees. You cannot imagine that in a local community like this, you have a tournament of this nature.
In health news, Bokengo Kemiaworthy talks about mouth or oral cancer and its prevalence in the society today.
Oral cancers are a part of a group of cancers commonly referred to as the head and neck cancers. Also known as mouth cancer, oral cancer often appears as a growth or sore in the throat, mouth, lips, and is mostly caused by tobacco, alcohol, as well as the human papilloma virus (HPV), which is a viral infection that is passed between people through skin to skin. In 2018, oral cancer occurred in about 355,000 people with 177,000 deaths worldwide, an average of 450 cases found each year. Oral cancer, like every other cancer type, has 5 phases, that is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, with its survival rate depending on the location of the disease in the mouth and the stage it is being diagnosed.
Cancer occurs in 5 stages from 0 to 4. So depending on the stage in which your cancer is or the type of mouth cancer you have, the oncologist or the specialist will be able to know if you need surgery for some cells to be scraped off, or they will just put you on ionization or radiation therapy to be able to shrink the cells, and you're now given chemotherapy to be able to combat the rapid developing cancer cells in your body.
Being one of the most highly prevalent cancer worldwide, men are more susceptible to oral cancer, and it is also a leading cause of mortality in certain regions. Understanding the causative factors of oral cancer, we foster the disease's prevention.
Smoking has inhibiting factors that results to cell formation, distortion, and as a result it leads to you developing oral cancer or mouth cancer over time. So tobacco is made up of a lot of carcinogenic substances. Alcohol too is one of the predominant causes of mouth cancer, from strong alcohol to alcohols that are not really that strong. So those was
Inhabitants of the northwest region of Cameroon have been subjected to a 5-day lockdown imposed by separatist fighters. The inhabitants have, however, expressed worries, saying the continuous lockdown seriously affects their lives and the economic activities of the city. Charles Kebwa tells us more.
The northwest region, these past 5 days, have been subjected to a lockdown from the usual Monday lockdown imposed by secessionist or separatist fighters. In the capital city of Bamenda, most business activities are closed down. Limited movement of persons, mostly trekking or taking commercial bikes as the only means of transportation, as taxis are off the road. Banks, petrol stations, and even some administrative offices are closed, with very few persons seen in the market to either buy or sell food items. Inhabitants say the lockdown is seriously affecting their lives and economic activities of the city.
But we'll be surprised for this way happen now, so say go stand the gun for since Monday. I did get a view on as a wash for us Monday, from Monday or being common. Send me the try way for identity. The go we forward with the face of the air badge. Send me the try way for identity for make till the day fine, till the day normal. Until at least all now so as we promote so my petrol where the money I'm paying, so I never promote for no matter they said be able to say 10 gallons. But now so I know they be able to say up to 4 gallons for people, so this is what we should know for us.
Very badly. See how much in the way for sure I'm saying no day. All places locked. Picking the day house chop no day. Way for go market go buy chop save no day. We will do now. I know we expect the good sounds up.
Barely 2 days to school resumption next week, 2nd September. Some parents are still helpless to have essentials for their children's back to school.
I'm very, very disturbed now with things where it happen, because I don't spend all thing where I get and and finish. Well, I get 5 picking the way they get for go school where no day.
Because of the lockdown imposed by the secessionist or separatist fighters, a challenging moment for the parents to
You're watching Prime News on My Media Prime. Despite the efforts of the Hygiene and Sanitation Company, HISACAM, to ensure cleanliness in the city of Douala, the city is still far from being clean, as dead litters around almost every neighborhood, a situation which many blame on the uncivil behavior from the denizens of the city. Details in the following report. We are in Douala, economic capital of Cameroon, in the littoral region of the country, divided into 7 districts with over 120 neighborhoods. Quarters in the city portrays the town as a chaotic slum. Neighborhoods like Bonaberi, Bepanda, Village, amongst others, are very well recognized by the dirty state. Proper waste disposal is a major problem given that city dwellers use the most improper means to dispose waste. In most cases, they tend to throw the dirt anywhere possible. Going by estimate, the production of daily household waste in Douala has geometrically risen in relation to the rising population. According to the company in charge of domestic waste disposal, Izakam, the company is organizing ways to clear the much accumulated dirt in most areas, but the population is not helping to facilitate the task. According to them still, another reason why they are less effective is because their vehicles are not enough to go around efficiently, and when some of these trucks break down, the situation worsens. Inhabitants of this city are exposed to ill health and possible diseases contracted from filth. Very often, traders who occupy market space have expressed discontent at the stench and dirt which accompanies their sales daily and request that something be done. According to the Douala City Council and stakeholders of waste management, they are discussing strategies to manage waste in order to keep Douala clean. While waiting for possible changes, the population and authorities that be have been cautioned to take cleanliness as a way of life, taking into consideration that every individual has a role to play to ensure a clean and safe town. On our foreign page, the prominent Hong Kong democracy activist Joshua Wong, arrested earlier today and later released on bail for organizing a protest, says they shall not surrender. He is amongst the 900 people arrested since anti-government protests began in June. Let's now have an excerpt from Joshua Wong.
Months ago, I served all of my jail sentence and left prison. Unfortunately, under chilling effects generated by Beijing and Hong Kong government, we're strongly aware that how they arrested activists, no matter act progressively or moderately. All we ask for is just to urge Beijing and Hong Kong government withdraw the bill, stop police brutality, and respond to our calls on free election. Even I've been jailed for 3 times, and I need to face a trial on 8th of November, which means 3 months later. But we still keep on our fight. We shall not surrender. And I urge international communities could send a clear message to President Xi. Sending troops or using emergency ordinance is not the way out. We will continue our fight no matter how they arrest and prosecute us.
Away from foreign news, the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon have joined the call for an effective 2019-2020 school resumption in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon come September 2, 2019. Their captain Abudi Ongene and her teammates joined the campaign in Yaoundé today by carrying placard messages which reads, "Open schools now." 237 stand for education in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. Let us go back to school. The Lionesses, who are currently campaigned in Yaoundé ahead of the Tokyo 2020 Olympics game qualifier against Ethiopia on Tuesday, September 3, were joined by some members of the technical staff to equally campaign for back to school come September 2, 2019. With that, we've come to the end of today's edition of the 7:45 Prime News on My Media Prime. But before we go, a quick reminder of our top stories. Some inhabitants of Bakingili village have pledged to the head of state President Paul Biya to permit their chief, who is currently in detention at Kondenge Central Prison, travel abroad for medical treatment. The indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon have joined the call for effective back-to-school resumption in the two English-speaking regions of the country. A1LI produced the news, coordinated by Faith Tata. My name is Genda Pelgin Blanche King. Thanks for watching. Join us on Monday for another edition of Prime News on My Media Prime. Till we meet again, stay tuned. Prime Hour continues with Kum Leonard and his team.
C'est parti avec la rentrée scolaire pour cette année. Are you looking for a good school for your children come September? All road leads to the great Nelson Mandela Bilingual Comprehensive College Bonaberry, which stands tall, with a perfect and conducive environment for studies, very qualified and experienced staff, work-equipped free library services, and affordable school fees. Admission for this academic year is currently going on from Mondays to Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Get your child enrolled now, for chances are limited. Le Collège Nelson Mandela est situé à Bonaberry Bipele, après la paroisse Saint-Joseph. Contact. Bravo! Vous avez gagné.
Seeking a career in agriculture? Consider St. Louis Higher Institute of Agriculture, where students can build their interest in various farming systems by tailoring their study of agriculture to production, processing, and marketing agribusinesses, making them job providers and not seekers. St. Louis Higher Institute of Agriculture offers relevant practical education developed and delivered by experts and teachers who believe in teaching by demonstration. St. Louis Complex also offers, through its Higher Institute of Medical Studies, professional HND in nursing, midwifery, physiotherapy, pharmacy technology, medical lab sciences, dental therapy, radiology, and ultrasonography. We are located at Bonaberry Double, opposite Nestle. Contact us on 678-435-138 or 677-764-674.
Being one of more than 200 majors of HIPMAT, I am proud of my success. It all began at HIPMAT.
I am a CEO. I coach and lead a team of salespeople. I don't hesitate to tell them the vision was planted and molded by HIPMAT.
Today, I stand on a pedestal of experienced and committed lecturers. The foundation was laid by HIPMAT.
For over a decade, HIPMAT's credibility and ministerial recognition have trained more than 15,000 professionals in business management and engineering from HND to BTech, MBA, and what have you. With an outstanding partnership with the University of Bamenda for BTech and MBA programs, our undoubted commitment to your show's success is a reflection of the future you painted. The Higher Institute of Business Management and Technology, HIPMAT, a university for professionals.
Welcome back. You are watching Prime on My Media Prime. We are going to continue with our discussions out here in the studio after the presentation of the news by Pedrin Blanche. I start with you. With you, Walang Abang. Do you think, like other people, that the cardinal is being robbed in the mud by what is happening, either by people who just bring him into certain initiatives and the manner with which the government has been treating him from the agency? Now we are hearing of this National Independent Peace Commission.
Well, that the cardinal is being robbed in the mud, I think that is part of his, that's the part of his cross that he has to carry as, a civil society leader, a religious personality, a moral personality, and he belongs to the civil society. And to talk about the mud, he has had more than enough of it. You remember the AGC conference, the AGC that, was his initiative, or that has been his initiative, but has not been able to come to fruition because, we come from a country where a mayor can stand up one day and say, I will not permit the AGC conference to take place in my municipality. And even if the head of state says that I should, you know, accept to host this conference, I will not host it. Until today, in this very country, the mayor is moving around like a free man. I mean, you know, to tell you the seriousness that, or the lightness that some people give to this issue of peace. Looks like we're fueling it. That the Cardinal Tumi is being robbed in mud is not a new thing. If you read his book, you know, the regime of Mr. Bia, Mr. Hijo, and Christian Tumi, the priest, you will see that since he became bishop in this country, he has had conflicts, you know, between the authorities of this country from, you know, the time that he became bishop till today that he's cardinal. He has always been looked with some kind of a critical eye. They've always considered him with some kind of a critical, you know, look as to his positions. At one time even, you know, there was this talk that he wanted to run for presidency, and he created for himself no shortage of enemies within the regime that is still leading us till today, because they thought that, a new prince wants to come out and take the place of the existing prince, you know, so that, because he has a lot of support, and even coming from Vatican as well. But he came out and said, no, I don't want to run for political position in this country. I am a priest, and I am barely voicing my opinion. So you see, it is not just today. It has been like that. At one time even, he was coined as a secessionist, or as supporting secessionist tendencies. But you know, this is somebody who has taken the initiative to bring about peace that has been robbed from the southwest and the northwest of Cameroon for a period of time now. And the powers that be, and even the secessionists, are not giving him the opportunity. Because I remember that at one time he was even blackmailed at the level of the diaspora by those who are running the secessionist tendency. You know, when he came up with his famous AGC initiative, they said he was eating from the pot of the government. They said the government had bribed him. But I want to say that, you know, like I said before, like I mentioned before, it is part of his cassock as a priest to be dragged in the mud, because when you stand for the truth, one of the most beautiful discourses I've heard is from Cardinal Tumi when he talked about truth, the power of truth, in the 1997 graduation of the University of Buea. When he talked about truth, when you stand for the truth, you must be ready to face the consequences, because so many people want to hide the truth. So you will create for yourself no shortage of enemies. And that is what he is doing. I think that he should just continue with the initiative, because if he stops at this point, people will think that he was just a charlatan, you know, not knowing what he was doing. I think the cardinal and all lovers of peace, including Walang Abang sitting here, Mr. Fai, Mr. Bias, who is sitting here, I think that we should be consistent in making this country to understand that peace is our birthright, and the initiative must not only come from the government. Anybody who is of good faith can run the initiative of peace if they can achieve something, even if the entire peace is not achieved. I think that the government is playing politics here that is not favoring peace in this country as of now. So civil society, religious organizations should take the lead.
For Elvis Tayon, some people say this meeting was not permitted because we already have many commissions, and that those who were heading the initiative have little or no direct hold on the grieving party. I'm talking about the pro-independence fighters. For post-electoral crisis in Cameroon, they still do not have a strong hold on the grieving MRC movement. And in the north, they don't have a strong hold on Boko Haram and other people who are actually angry in the country.
Well, I think that those who give those excuses is because the kangaroo system is always prone to excuses at all times when they fail. Now, you know, I said the entire system has failed. Don't mind as we're talking. Because you cannot have an authorization for something and then people are insinuating that maybe it was not given for this reason or that reason. Now, if we move by the reason some people are advocating, and then it will mean that the state is a confused state. Because I give you authorization because the DOs, the SDOs, they are representative of the state. And before they give an authorization, it means that they must have spoken with the conveners of this kind of meeting to know the result date of the meeting. So, if you see a DO gives that kind of order, and where even a DO assume that he is deceived and he issues that kind of authorization, most of the times when they realize that it is not, the objectives are not as per se, they cancel it. They have the pass to annul an authorization that was given before. But from the time it was given till today, none of the conveners have been called by phone that please, we have cancelled that meeting. So, the state pretends on one hand as supporting the meeting, while on the other hand, this meeting will not hold. We'll see how they will hold this meeting. It means that it is a system that has decided to be acting the other way around. That's the more reason why I said that if we want to be looking for excuses, when it comes to whether people have masters or not, catch now to me, for example, Bishop Kleda and the rest, even those who were invited, each and every one that came from the northwest, southwest, at least had a say, because they have heard gunshots, they have been running helter-skelter from one area to another, they have witnessed things themselves. And people don't know. The clergy themselves are more informed than you and I. Because the church is at the center of the event. Presbyterian Church in Akwaya has closed. Ngi has closed. Most of the pastors in Ngi, Akwaya, Reverend Fathers, they have all relocated out of the place. So before relocating themselves, they have ample information. The few catechists and some other church elders who are in those areas in Bingwanti, for example, the Southwest, Koko Boma, Kombo Etindi, Kombo Abedimo, just to name a few, they still relay information to those other pastors or priests who have escaped from the area. So it's to tell you that even the church that came to that meeting, they have ample information on the situation on the ground via their network. So they stand a better chance of commenting on issues of peace. Why? Because when you get issues of peace from an imam or from a clergy, it is likely to be true, including civil society organizations who were present. Mahatma Gandhi was there, Total Impact was there, and a host of other civil society organizations that came for that meeting. Because most of these civil society organizations, they work with the grassroots. And so if you get information from the clergy, civil society organizations, it has more than 85% to be true that when you get from the principal actor in the crisis, who is the government. Because there are GOs who have now become politicians. They will not give you the reality because of one reason or the other. And so I think that a functional state in its normal apparatus will use the information you get from your GOs, those you get from civil society organizations, those you get from the church, those you get from the imams, you put together to understand the realities, which the state has refused to apply. So at the end of it, how do we think that we could minimize the efforts of some people when the state that is the sole guarantor of peace is not doing its job as it's supposed to do? So at the end of it, do we fold our arms? When peace crusaders come, we stay quiet. Then others come, clergy come, we stay quiet. The Muslim community come, we stay quiet, and we say no. Peace issues should only come from us, the state, and from the ruling party. It is a terrible thing. That's why we say that the moment we begin to accept, because there are parameters that tells whether the state wants this issue to come to an end or not.
Ok. Qui aurait interdit la tenue de la réunion?
Mais bien sûr, c'est le gouvernement en place.
Mais il n'y a pas de preuves. Hein?
Mais on n'a pas besoin de preuves. Les faits parlent d'eux-mêmes. Écoutez, Léo.
Peut-être que les organisateurs ont voulu faire semblant.
Je ne suis pas dans le peut-être, Léo. Je ne suis pas, ou bien nous ne sommes pas des Camerounais dupes d'une certaine époque qui ne comprenons pas exactement comment ce pays fonctionne.
Okay.
Je vais vous dire, Léo, je ne sais pas si nous, les acteurs du changement, de la paix, et ce gouvernement illégitimement constitué, même qui est en place, avons la même définition de ce qu'on appelle un dialogue. Nous avons les gens qui parlent eux seuls, qui se parlent à eux seuls, qui décident de comment ils doivent faire. et qui trouvent des compromis eux seuls et parlent de dialogue. Moi, je pense que cette définition ne s'appelle que le monologue. Et comme ce régime en place n'est pas prêt au dialogue, tout simplement parce que ils ont cultivé et accumulé depuis des années cette mauvaise posture, cette façon de voir les choses selon laquelle les seules personnes qui sont des dieux, c'est eux. Et les autres ne sont rien. Alors, toute initiative qui vise à faire intervenir tous ceux qui sont des acteurs, de près comme de loin impliqués dans ce qui se passe au Cameroun, est la malvenue chez ceux qui nous gèrent tout simplement parce que ils ont peur de la vérité. C'est ça, la vérité. Okay. Ils ont peur que les véritables personnes qui sont concernées dans cette crise puissent dire exactement ce qui se passe aux yeux du monde. C'est pour ça qu'ils ont peur de confronter sur la même table des personnes qui sont prêtes et qui vivent les atrocités au quotidien. Des personnes qui vivent les exactions au quotidien et les personnes qui sont immédiatement concertées. Ils ont leur définition du dialogue. Ils veulent que le dialogue se tienne à Yaoundé, dans leur bureau flétri, dans un orgueil total ostentatoire, comme ce que nous voyons tous les jours dans les médias, où certains ministres de la place traitent les autres de racailles et appellent au dialogue. Mais ça, c'est inacceptable.
Il y a aussi des gens qui appellent les ministres kangaroo system. C'est pas bien aussi, non? Je vais vous dire, si vous dites Léo, que les ministres appellent les gens les
je vais vous dire, Léo, entre un ministre oui. qui a reçu mandat du peuple, bien que ce mandat soit assez limité parce que c'est le peuple qui a le véritable pouvoir, okay. Et celui qui n'a reçu aucun mandat, oui. Vous voulez qu'on écoute qui? C'est pour ça que nous, qui sommes des acteurs, oui, qui aimons ce pays, nous pensons que ceux qui nous gênent n'aiment pas ce pays, tout simplement parce que s'ils aimaient ce pays, ils devraient déjà mettre sur pied des conditions pour que la paix revienne. Et moi, je pense que, et je pense que tous les Camerounais le pensent aussi, parce que toutes les initiatives de la paix ont été balayées du revers de la main. Ça fait 3 ans aujourd'hui que nous vivons les atrocités. Les Camerounais sont meurtris. L'économie camerounaise est au sol. De nombreuses entreprises telles la CDC, Pamol, sont au sol. Nous avons près de 3000 personnes qui tombent. 50 000 déplacés extérieurs. Près de milliers de déplacés sur le sol camerounais. Nous trouvons que c'est de trop. Okay. Et si un gouvernement est soucieux de sa population, s'il a vraiment été élu par cette population, s'il a véritablement reçu le mandat légitime de pouvoir être ce gouvernement élu qui gère cette population, okay. Alors nous ne devons pas avoir les résultats comme ceux que nous avons.
Good evening. I think that the Cameroon government has never wanted peace to reign. There comes a time where we come down from our high heels and allow some things happen for the sake of people. But unfortunately, that's not the case in Cameroon. I'm afraid we are still in for a long period of war when arrogant men lead. Secondly, I don't really trust the initiator of that meeting, Jean-Jacques Ekindi. He's too controversial and incoherent. He is today with the regime and the next day he isn't. How do we even trust his actions? He needs to define his path in politics and stay within this part. I'm sure Solomon Ate is watching from Boya. I asked this question also to Mr. Wallan, whether the problem was not Jean-Jacques Ekindi. Hello, Prime Media. Mr. Elvis is saying the truth. Good evening to you. When you write, tell us where you're writing from. Good evening, jingoistic panelist. According to Dr. Bernard Fondon, even in the political domain, knowledge is of supreme importance. For Aristotle, he has stressed good governance is not the work of chance, but of science and purpose. The greatest handicaps that has barred our road to peace is ignorance from the part of the government. Please, I would like to talk with Mr. Tayong. Okay, and over Cletus. I'll send you his number so that you can contact him directly. Good evening to you all on decks. This is Boo Armstrong writing from Womb. puts me to ask this question. Is Cameroon ready for peace and frank talks? If you are a lover for peace, you welcome ideas from all angels. Cameroon government alone cannot tackle this. Let them sink their pride and go for dialogue. Let us not compare our issues of what may be Syria or Afghanistan. They have a different focus. We want our rights back, so we are not terrorists. The war have confirmed this. Thanks, Mr. Kum. Thank you to Boo writing from Womb. Good evening. My best school is Christ the Messiah School Complex, Yaoundé. I'm Young Elma, writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, gentlemen. I don't think Cameroon will ever be okay because of our president. Okay. Good evening. Effective back to school will not solve this problem, but a change of mindset of the citizens through sensational. The government is arrogant since they know the right thing but refuse to implement. Stop saying youths are the leaders of tomorrow and have refused to them powers to exercise, and please you guys to do the right thing. Terry is writing from Boya. We are not the government, Terry. We hope that the government is listening and has listened to your message. Good evening. My name is Divine in Limbe. The best school is Spotlight Comprehensive. Tiko Mendy, writing from Malinde, says good evening to all in the studio. I love the program, especially with Mr. Elvis. Okay, government should cease fire, then we can talk peace. Mendy, good evening, and to you all watching us from Malinde. How can a peace commission meeting that was authorized by the DO fault without an explanation? Okay. Good evening to you guys. My best school is GTHS Bamenda. This is Bless writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you guys watching us from Bamenda. This one says, my best school is GS Chup. Janet is writing from Kumba. Okay, you have a problem with the spelling. That's the spelling. The answer to school resumption is for the government to go to school. Fees free from nursery school to Form 5 in the Northwest and Southwest for 3 years and stop wasting money for campaigns. Nganjengwe is writing from Kumba. We move over to our next topic. That
I just want to, please, before we move to permit me say that.
Okay.
Permit me say that, you know, there is this issue. The government of Cameroon has lost credibility. It is important that it's in line with the initiative of Honorable Jean-Jacques Ikinzi. The government has lost credibility. If you look at the commission, you know, on bilingualism and multiculturalism, you discover that very little or nothing has been done to, you know, create a difference or to bridge the gap between French and English. Today, since the Anglophone crisis, 2016, till today, there has been this cry that the National Daily Cameroon Tribune has a bold caption in French, very bold, and a very little tiny caption in English. It is still there till today. French language still remains principally the main language in Cameroon. That is not in the military, the police, the military, and the penitentiary administration. We cannot deny that. You know, so that arrogance is still there. And the more you talk about it...
There is an English version of Cameroon Tribune today.
There is an English version of Cameroon? No, yes. I see one daily, bilingual daily.
No, there is an English version.
Okay,
they call it the
that's
Insider.
Information.
The Insider, it was launched last month.
But the Insider is a different newspaper. It's not the direct translation.
No, it's not.
It's a different newspaper. Let's just come in because of the Anglophone crisis. And it's still to blindfold people.
Can we move over to the next topic? The next topic has to do with the bishops of the Bamenda Provincial Episcopal Conference that met on the 23rd of August 2019 and came up with some points justifying the need for children to go to school. The first point they raised is that children in these regions deserve the right to education. How do both sides place the importance of the right of the education of the children in the Northwest and Southwest region as they go on with the war?
Well, I think that it's a little problematic on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
You know, both the secessionist tendency and the government,
Mm-hmm.
you know, both of them have shown a very terrible disregard for the education of the children.
Okay.
I'll explain why. The secessionists have openly declared that schools will not reopen. and they are using that as a strategy, you know, in the conflict. I don't know the implication. I don't know whether they are winning. I don't know whether they are losing. But what I know is that the children are losing. We are, you know, hijacking the future of our children. We are hijacking the future of this country. That is on the part of the secessionists. The government is there, you know, preaching school resumption in the conflict-stricken regions of Cameroon, that is northwest and southwest. And, you know, on one side, they are playing a hide-and-seek game that we don't understand till today. Because, you know, I don't want to get into all the nitty-gritty of that game. I just want to cite one particular case. At a time when the government has dispatched, you know, government big wigs to go down to the field and preach school resumption. At a time when Atanganji Paul, the Minister of Territorial Administration, at the time when he, you know, organized meetings and called on people to put in effort, you know, so that school resumptions begin in the northwest and southwest, which efforts are laudable because we need schools to resume. At the time when school is about to begin, and there are many civil society organizations in the field, you know, projecting this initiative, the campaign for schools to resume in the northwest and the southwest region. A few days to the resumption of these schools, a verdict is passed in the military tribunal in Yaoundé against Sisiku Ayou Tabe and other collaborators who are the main leaders of this secessionist tendency in Cameroon. The implication is that many more of these secessionists are going to be terribly radicalized. And when they are radicalized, then they will stand firm on their ground that there is no return to school. So I think that the government is playing some kind of a cat and mouse game with the secessionists, you know, whereby they preach one thing and practice the other. I do not think that the government...
Well, you say the practice, and I know that the government has consistently advocated for back to school. There is even another campaign that was launched today.
Not only is the government not credible, there are civil society organizations that have been leading this fight, you know, to encourage children
now,
to go back to school.
All of what you are saying has to do with some of the activities that prevents children from going to school in their move, either for government or for the separatists. How do they place the interest of the children?
Permit me, I will just cite one instance again. You know, there is this interministerial meeting which was headed by the Minister of Communication, whereby they said every step has been taken and firmly to ensure that children go back to school in the northwest and southwest region, which is in the interest of the children. And then we have a minister who is in Bafoussam on that same day telling internally displaced and encouraging that I have given firm instructions to the governor that internally displaced students will be admitted into
but they're already in Bafoussam.
But they're already there. Yeah. So it means that, I mean, this is a contradiction, because if measures are going to be taken so that children go to school where they are, it means that there's supposed to be no internally displaced. People should not be running. It means the security is assured for those children who are there. They should not be moving. But we know that till today, people are still moving out of the northwest and southwest region to neighboring regions, you know, especially for education. Yeah. So the interest of the children is not taken into consideration. I think there is a lot of politicking in this.
How were they supposed to take care of the interest of the children?
First and foremost, this conflict has been on for 3 years, and nobody's resolving it.
Okay. Fatayong, the bishop says we are 3 years into the conflict, and there are no guarantees that the conflict is going to be fixed soonest, going by the way both camps comport themselves, and that is going to be extremely disastrous not to give the children an opportunity to go back to school, because if they suppose that in the next 5-10 years there is war, the future and destiny of these children are going to be thwarted.
Well, let me just come in, Leo. You know, Cameroon baffles me the way they handle their issues.
No,
now I'm coming to it.
Okay.
It's a connection. I said baffles me because with the declarations on the side of the bishop, their assessment is quite true. The way things are moving, it shows that things are already going off hand. My own additional point to that issue is that the Cameroon's way of handling the issue or the conflict is totally wrong on either side. What am I saying? Once there is conflict in an area, school is jeopardized. I am waiting for a political scientist who will disprove me. In DRC, child soldiers were even recruited. In South Africa, people did not go to school. It is a common phenomenon characteristic that once there's a conflict, the tendency of children of school being disrupted is clear. So, what am I saying here? This sing-song of back to school, back to school, back to school, as if people don't know the importance of back to school, to me, I don't see it very important as of now. What I see is the fact that the government is the sole guarantor of education in the country. So what they need to do, I've told them several times, I don't know why they are heady. When I hear campaigners back to school, they don't have work to do. The real thing to do is that it is normal. Once conflict is on, school is disrupted. It's not new to Cameroon. There's nowhere where school has been, where conflicts, war is going on, and then school is going on. Except on the grounds that the government takes the position as number one to create a buffer zone. I have spoken on this platform several times. There's no parent who does not even, there's no parents now. I said earlier, my grandmother sent me to school and was an illiterate today. There's no parents in the present day Cameroon who does not like school. That's why I say the campaign of back to school is out of place. What is in context now is the fact that if you want school to go, you hold the government responsible to create a buffer zone. I repeat over and over. If you go to Syria, in Damascus, schools have closed in other places, including Aleppo, closed. And they have now relocated schools into a particular area called the buffer zone, where teachers stay there, parents, where the teachers stay there, the students stay there, and you see, it's CAF zone, supported by UNICEF, UNESCO, and the government. So what I'm saying here is that, with the declaration the bishops have given us, it is true. We will buy with the declaration. But what we're saying here is that the most important thing is, if the government can assist us to create an enabling environment, because you cannot tell the government within this short period of time that make the war to come to an end, it goes. It cannot go.
Please.
But if you move on, I'm coming. What I'm talking, I can stand and approve what I'm saying. Now, what I'm saying is that when we go to this aspect of what the bishops are saying, the good thing I think we could be saying is that we press out of the government to create an enabling environment. The enabling environment for me, as of now, it's not necessarily to bring the war to an end because it cannot stop so abruptly. But if we carve an area where we create inconvenience for the children to come and stay, carved, I am sure that if the government does that, even makeshift tents could be constructed, and that area is carved as a zone only for school, then the other issues can be looked into after. Because we are talking, we have few days to school resumption, and the indications on the ground are not still very okay. So if we keep, so I think that we are running after the shadow when the substance is there. The government will help us get a creative zone, and that creative zone, even themselves, when it's backed up by UNICEF and other organizations, I'm sure even the fighters will not go to attack, and it will make it very safe for people to be there.
Please, I need to stress on this point so that the viewers out there, they understand that the Cameroonian case is really unique. Why is it unique? You know, this is a conflict where some protagonists of the war, in quote, because I don't even think this is not yet a full-fledged war, but some protagonists of the war, in quote, you know, have expressed they have issued an order that schools should not go on. You understand? Yep. In the other countries, you know, it is some spontaneous issue that belligerent parties are fighting, and people think that it is not secure to go out there. Talk less of going to school. But here in Cameroon, we have declared it. And when we declare it, right, there is the tendency that belligerent parties may attack children because they have expressed the willingness of seeing children stay in the house. Okay, I just wanted to make that point very clear with the Cameroonian context, which is not same with
that in Syria. Nobody said that.
Yes, nobody has declared that.
My context here, I'm coming in, is conflict. Whether you say people should go to school or not, when there is exchange of gunfire, you and I know that it's not safe for children to go to school. You don't need to be told.
No meeting can hold in this country unless it is sponsored by the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement. How can people in the right senses refuse a meeting to talk about peace we all long for? It means they love the war and are indeed enjoying the goodies of the war. The bishop have a reason for their opinion. Can the bishops send their kids to school if they were not clergies? Do they prefer illiterate Christians alive or Genesis corpses? St. Derek. Okay. Hello, Prime Media. Is Putin from Dallas, Texas. Okay. We're glad to know you're watching us from America. The wind of change is already blowing in Cameroon, and the change must come. Putin, good evening to you. And we are glad to know that you watch us all the way from President Trump's country. Let me take some messages. Good evening to you all in the studio. I don't think the school resumption will be effective in the 2 English-speaking regions of the country with the military and unidentified gunmen around our neighborhoods inflicting fear in the hearts of people, and the rampant Kali by the military, and the government is not doing anything about that. My best school is Kotek, Bafut. Ashley is writing from Limbe. Good evening to you guys. The problem is not going to school, but we need a change in this country and the correct information about the future of the children in the Northwest and Southwest. Jesse is writing from Kumba. He says, thanks, Mr. Elvis. You are on track. Good evening, Leo. Are schools resuming under Ambazonian government or under the government of the Republic of Cameroon? J. John from Fundong. I think that for now we have just the Republic of Cameroon. Good evening, Mr. Elvis. Please, do you have a wife? Because I think I'm in love with you. Wow. Wow, Mr. This is Cynthia is writing from. Cynthia is writing from Wotutu. Cynthia. Mr. Elvis is married. I hope I'm not spoiled. Yeah.
No, very. The hands are tight. The hands are tight.
Good evening to you people in the studio. The government of Cameroon has never been serious about solving this crisis, and things have gone off hand. They should stop singing about school resumption and there is security. I'm living in Bamenda and there is no security. They better drop pride and solve this crisis before talking about school. The population is reducing every day, but they don't care. Eric is writing from Bamenda. Good evening, Eric. And to you all watching us from the hilltop city, Bamenda. Good evening to you all at the Prime. Concerns going to school. The government is confused. Even today, the Minister of Territorial Administration is offering free education to IDPs in West Region, while the governor of the Northwest Region is calling on the IDPs to come back. Who is honest? Kang Eric, writing from Bafmeng. Okay. Good evening. My name is Ngong from Yaoundé. My best school is Christ the King Messiah School Complex, Yaoundé. Okay, Ngong. Song Julius, also writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, my dear members of the team. Dialogue in Cameroon is a failed enterprise already. We don't have a freedom of speech in Cameroon. The only moment you have freedom to speak is when you don't say anything. Once you speak, you lose freedom of speech. So what has been existing in Cameroon for the last years is monologue and not dialogue, and dialogue won't come soon. Okay, Julius, thank you. Is Cameroon ready for peace? Anybody saying we should go back to school should come to Belu in Bango. I'm an orphan, nobody to help me, nowhere to run to. My eyes are dry of tears. I'm tired of this fit back to school. Tell me, Mr. Kum, good evening. Mirabel from Bango in Bamenda. Mirabel, we share in your pain. Good evening to you. Good evening, it's Edwin from Muya. Please, I like when you give Mr. Tayon the chance to educate us. I learn more when he talks. Thanks very much. Okay. Sue, writing from Bafut. Bishops don't have children and don't know the pain and risk involved in exposing children in a crossfire environment. Villages have been deserted and the government has not created an enabling environment for schools to resume before they needed not to campaign for back to school. Okay, I'm sure you are the child of a bishop. They are spiritual fathers of everybody. Hello, it's Miriam from Bomaka. My best school is Bilingual Grammar School, Moliko Boya. Good evening to you, Miriam. Good evening, panelists. It's Peter from Boya. The misfortune with Cameroon is that she's being ruled by her enemies. The rulers of Cameroon manifest the highest degree of patriotism. This country will move ahead when we have leaders who serve the country instead of themselves and serving the man who appoints and dismisses them at will. May God help us. Good evening, dear panelists. My name is Magali from Bamenda. My best school is GHS Benakuma. I like the program so much. Please, I'm begging for the number of Mr. Elvis so that I can learn much from him. Thanks. Okay. Please, we'll do that. Hello, it's Alan from Bamenda. My best school is GBHS Bayelin Kwen, Bamenda. Thank you. Good evening, sir. My best school is GBHS Ndop, Nelen Ferdinand from Yaoundé. Salomon Bias, les évêques de Bamenda disent que refuser aux enfants de ne plus aller à l'école, c'est l'injustice envers ces enfants. Que personne n'a le droit de décréter que les enfants ne vont pas à l'école.
Qui a décrété que les enfants n'aillent pas à l'école?
Beaucoup de gens l'ont dit.
Moi, je pense que ceux qui ont le monopole des décrets dans ce pays, c'est le gouvernement.
Non, beaucoup de gens ont demandé que les gens n'aillent pas à l'école.
Vous ne pouvez donc pas dire que les gens ont décrété.
Parce
que les individus pris dans le sens normal du terme dans un pays ne décrètent pas. Si je voudrais analyser...
Non, il ne faut pas laisser ce que j'ai dit que les évêques disent que ceux qui ont demandé que les enfants n'aillent pas à l'école font de l'injustice envers ces enfants.
Je préfère encore ce terme.
Oui,
au fait, il faudrait que...
Il faut aussi comprendre que
Non,
tu te bats en français.
Non, c'est normal. Le Cameroun est bilingue et tu en fais beaucoup.
Oui.
Je suis fier même quand je t'écoute. Parce que même le chef d'État actuel, dont les gens donnent le monopole, ne s'est jamais exprimé en anglais. Mais bien sûr, je suis en train de dire que vous faites mieux. Parce que vous exprimez en français et dans les deux langues. Ça, c'est la preuve du bilinguisme que nous avons besoin dans notre pays. Pour poursuivre mon propos liminaire sur la question que vous venez de me poser, dont les évêques traitent, n'est-ce pas, d'injuste le fait que les enfants n'aillent pas à l'école. Je voudrais rappeler à ceux qui nous écoutent que l'éducation, c'est un droit. Et ce droit est codifié même dans la Constitution du Cameroun. Et ce droit est protégé par ceux qui gèrent les institutions du Cameroun. Il s'avère donc que, par les agissements de ceux-là qui sont même illégitimement constitués, l'éducation au Cameroun a pris un très grand coup. Parce que gouverner, c'est prévoir, gouverner, c'est anticiper. Comment on peut expliquer aux Camerounais que ce qui arrive aujourd'hui et qui assassine près de 3000 Camerounais, qui tue notre économie dans 2 régions et qui déplace les Camerounais, les disséminant partout dans le monde, émane de 2 événements. Une grève, une manifestation des avocats, réprimée avec violence, tabassée et jetée dans la boue, jetée dans les camions, les toges déchirées. Et une manifestation des enseignants qui ne demandaient qu'à refaire le sous-système éducatif anglophone qui n'est pas en adéquation avec la culture anglophone et l'héritage qu'ils ont reçu. Ils estiment que ce que nous avons comme éducation au Cameroun ne rend pas les Camerounais compétitifs. Or, ceux des régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest, qui sont des travailleurs par essence, dû à la culture qu'ils ont reçue, voient de ça une injustice. Parce que cette éducation ne leur profite pas, ça les amoindrit et ça les rend idiots. C'est de ça qu'il est question. Alors, si le gouvernement était vraiment soucieux de l'éducation, c'était de mettre sur pied des paradigmes pour que cela soit corrigé. Parce que nous savons aujourd'hui dans le monde, et c'est une vérité qui n'est pas contestée, que l'éducation dans le système anglo-saxon est la meilleure éducation. Moi-même, les enfants vont dans ce système, dans ce sous-système.
Est-ce que vous êtes en train de...
Je suis en train d'aller dans ce sens. Je vais répondre à la question.
Ok.
Créant des conditions inévitables d'un conflit. Le conflit s'est installé. Et quand nous sommes dans une zone de conflit, on ne contrôle plus rien. C'est comme un cancer. Il y a les maladies opportunistes qui viennent. Il y a d'autres groupes, dans le cas d'un conflit armé, qui s'ajoutent au conflit et qui créent des conditions d'où la population ne peut plus être sécurisée. La paix sociale est troublée, on ne peut plus vaquer aux occupations. Si vous étiez un parent, Léonard Combes, entre mourir et ne pas être éduqué, vous choisirez quoi?
Bonne question.
Moi, je choisis ne pas être éduqué que de mourir. Ce qui est vrai.
Qui veut me tuer?
Mais attendez. Vous pouvez envoyer votre enfant aller à l'école dans une zone où le préfet, le sous-préfet fuit, où le chef des services publics fuit, où les prêtres et les pasteurs fuient, où les enseignants fuient, où on tue les proviseurs.
Mais les enfants n'ont rien.
Je suis en train de vous expliquer.
Oui.
Qu'est-ce que les proviseurs eux-mêmes ont fait pour mériter ce châtiment? Qu'est-ce que les enseignants ont fait? Mais c'est qu'ils sont tombés sur le feu nourri d'une guerre qu'ils n'ont pas provoquée, où ils sont simplement des victimes. Et ils peuvent être, ces enfants peuvent être des victimes comme ces aînés qui sont morts dans ce conflit. C'est pour ça que nous nous disons qu'aujourd'hui, cette initiative louable du retour à l'école, qui est même salutaire, mais inappropriée au vu du contexte socio-politique tendu dans les régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest, où personne ne peut être sécurisé. C'est de ça qu'il est question. Si vous voyez un ministre, le convoi du ministre de la Défense, canadais, vous croyez que c'est un parent qui peut protéger son enfant? Il y a les jeux qu'on est en train d'organiser, en l'occurrence la course sur le mont Cameroun, qui est récemment passé. Vous voyez le ministre, n'est-ce pas, des sports et de l'éducation physique, cagoulé, porter un casque avec les gilets pare-balles. Vous croyez que les enfants qui vont à l'école peuvent avoir ces casques et ces gilets pare-balles? Si l'administration publique elle-même a peur, alors qu'elle a tous les moyens de protection, comment expliquer aux parents qui n'ont aucun moyen de protection que les enfants peuvent être sécurisés? C'est de ça qu'il est question. Aujourd'hui, le back to school, qui est un slogan normal dans une république qui fonctionne selon les normes, devient inapproprié aujourd'hui au vu du contexte. Ce n'est pas pour dire que nous ne sommes pas d'accord, mais c'est pour dire que entre choisir d'éduquer nos enfants, de ne pas les éduquer et ou de les envoyer à la mort, un parent sérieux choisit de ne pas éduquer son enfant. Parce qu'il espère au moins que un lendemain peut être meilleur, l'enfant pourra être éduqué. Mais mort, l'enfant ne pourra plus jamais être éduqué. C'est de ça qu'il est question.
Salmon BS. Okay, Walang Abang, the bishops are calling on the Amber fighters because they index them clearly that they should approach the back to school with reason and not emotion.
It is sad, Mr. Bean, that we are living in a context, and I always say I come from a country where the bishops don't matter anymore. Especially in the English-speaking part of Cameroon, because you will see that before I go to the relationship with the Amber fighters, you will discover that at the beginning of this crisis, the bishop of the Bamenda Ecclesiastical Province, they wrote to the head of state, and they all signed. And what was the content of the letter? They highlighted the truths that are inherent in the history of Cameroon, about the coming together of the former West Cameroon, southern Cameroon, and the east part of Cameroon. And that in this union, one part was essentially English, another part was essentially French. And the rules, they set in place the rules that governs this union. And they elaborated the violation of this rule that has been going on since 1961 till the present date, and said that that was the cause of the Anglophone crisis that began in 2016, or that began to find expression in 2016, because the lava had been bubbling under the mountain for a long time, but it came out in 2016. So they wrote to the president, and what happened? There was a gross neglect of that letter.
Do you remember the question I asked?
Yeah, I'm coming. That the bishop spoke to the, you know, that the ambas should, you know, get consider this back to school with reason and not emotion. And I'm saying that we live in a society. We come from a country where the bishops are not relevant anymore because neither the government on its part nor the ambas of the part are giving them that relevance. Now, after finishing with the part of the government, we remember that recently the Archbishop of Bamenda, the Bamenda Archdiocese, was abducted by ambas.
No, Kumbu.
Bishop Fontaine Eswa spent about 12 hours with ambas.
Okay, on his way from.
So that was an abduction. You understand? He was abducted. You know, giving me reason to say that the relevance of the men of God, you know, is almost disappearing. And a few days ago, the Bishop of Kumbo, his lordship, the name again, George Kuo, was abducted by the Ambazonian fighters. And why was he abducted? A few days to his abduction, he spoke vehemently against the abduction of priests and against the targeting of schools. And as if to say that, Mr. Bishop, you do not have any right to talk about our activities. They abducted him. So I'm saying that the relevance of these men, these eminent men of God, is disappearing, both on the side of the government and on the side of the restoration forces. And believe me, Mr. Bias has said something here very technical, and my co-panelist, Mr. Fai Elvis. It is absolutely important to look at the security context before talking about back to school. We all want our children to go back to school. But if you see the context in which, you know, this back to school is operating, there is a lot of politicking. I've said that. There's a lot of politicking because there's one protagonist who wants that everything should come only from their camp. That is the government. And there is the secessionists, the separate, who are using that as some kind of a weapon, a tactic.
Okay, let me take some messages before we end the program. Evening, my brother Stewart from Yaoundé. There can't be school resumption if the government doesn't sit to talk from Yaoundé. Hope no civilian war breaks at the interior. Okay, good evening to you. This one says hi to you too. This one says Atonga texting from Dubai. Let the government know that the leaders are planning to call for school resumption to set the government on a big trap. They will do this and confrontations will continue more than before, most especially on school days, and they will claim the government is not wanting the war to end because they don't want dialogue. All blames will be on them. Okay, Atonga, thank you for your message. Good evening, everyone. It's Jubi from Mutengen, and my best school is GBHS Tiku. Before talking of back to school, they should first ask themselves the following. If the following things are present: security, shelter, feeding, before talking of back to school. Okay, my brother from Mutengen. Please stop calling. The calls are disturbing. We can't read the messages when you keep calling. Stop the calls, please. If you have a message to share, just send it. We are going to read them out. Hello, it's Tabot Machiavelli writing from Yaoundé. I just want us to examine school resumption at a different perspective. Those children whose parents are CDC laborers have been inactive for some time due to the crisis. Now, how would their children go to school when the government owes them accumulated unpaid salaries for several months? Merci, Monsieur Bias. Okay. Tabot. Back to school campaigns are joking. Let them use the same energy to call on the government for a ceasefire and schools will resume without any fears. I'm in Boya and I've experienced it. When there are gunshots, for example, on a Tuesday, parents don't send their kids to school for the rest of the week. And when there is rumor of attacks, they come right into the school campuses and pull their kids out of the classroom. Let the government initiate the dialogue and effective schools will start. Ivy is writing from Boya. Waiting some called God gifts. I'm not sure school resumption will be effective. We are not only interested to go to school, but to see good administration amongst the government. From Ekona, how can we go to school where right now in Ekona we are seeing live war film. Oh my God, help us. My best school is BGS Moliko. Greetings to Mr. Baja, Mr. Molowa, and Madam Amanda, my additional math teachers, and also Mr. Orok Philip, my math teacher. The government has shown to us that they had no love for the Anglophones, but what I know is that Jehovah will help us. Linda is writing from Douala. Linda should be an IDP, okay? Good evening to you all. I'm Sharon from Malindi. Schools can't effectively take off this year due to the insecurity we all are facing out here. It's best the government solve this problem or let foreign bodies to help us in this, rather than asking the children to act as collateral damage in the name of back to school. Okay. Good evening. I'm calling from Bamenda. My best school is GBSS Bawok Taju Marcos Unja. Okay. Stop calling, please. I cannot take a call. Good evening, Mr. Kuma. I like your program and buys Mr. Elvis's idea. In any crisis area, school becomes hindered. Mr. Ndoa writing from Limbe. Good evening to all of you in the studio. My best school was PSS Bafut. I say so because because there is no school going on in Bafut. I pray this crisis stop. It's Azinwi Wisdom writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Azinwi. Song Julius, again, please, the bishops in Cameroon are acting like people who are ignorant despite their positions as people who are well informed. I know I'm out of time. Yeah, last words, please.
Yeah, my last words is simple. That I understand the stance of the bishops, but my last word I will be giving is the fact that government should take statistics of those in the bushes, those who have lost their parents, those who don't have houses, provide the shelter as someone just texted, provide the shelter, provide the facility for back to school, and when you get the statistics even, you carve a zone, you leave it there, then you can go and be fighting a war, no trouble. Children will stay somewhere and go to school. And again, back to school as the bishops are campaigning does not end there. Some have no parents like CDC worker, as someone just texted, have not had salary. And then their parents who are economically hard up. Government should identify all of this and give free education. You cannot be talking back to school when you have not put in place parameters for back to school. That's why I said the government is not serious, because you proclaim back to school, others just follow you without looking at parameters. Do I come and sit with one book and a local Chinese school bag offered to me under 15 million francs, what, as I say, and I start going to school when school fees are even skyrocketing with other needs plus feeding? Government should be serious. And those who say back to school, bishops, please, when you tell the church to go back to school, please tell the Christian church to raise money so that they give these students school fees to go and pay, and then give them shelter even in the bishop's house to sleep there and go to school. It will do us a lot of good. Thank you.
Ok. Salomon Bias, merci d'être venu.
C'est moi qui vous remercie, Léo Koum. Je remercie les millions de téléspectateurs qui sont scotchés, n'est-ce pas, sur votre télévision, My Media Prime aujourd'hui. Nous continuons à dire que il faudrait qu'on s'habitue dans ce pays à écouter les autres avis. Nous sommes dans un univers où les hommes ne sont pas toujours appelés à avoir les mêmes idées. C'est dans la contradiction et le dialogue que jaillit la lumière. Et nous disons à ceux-là qui sont aux affaires depuis 37 ans que si le Cameroun leur dépasse, ils se mettent de côté parce que nous avons besoin de notre pays. Ils n'ont pas besoin de le détruire entièrement avant de partir. L'heure est venue pour eux qu'ils partent et nous laissent notre pays parce que nous allons le construire, nous avons les moyens de le construire.
Okay, and to you, Walang Abang, we are glad you're part of the show. Receive greetings from Susie Mbonsolange, who is watching us from Denmark. Good evening to you too, Susie.
That is beautiful. Good evening to you, Susie. I'm so honored that you're watching us from Denmark. My last word is this, there is a Chinese proverb that says that instead of cursing the darkness, light a candle. things can always begin from somewhere. I mean, if people are preaching back to school, perhaps everybody will not go back to school. It may be sad, but things should start from somewhere. I think there are organizations out there that, if children start going back to school and they express the need, or the society expresses the need, that these children face at that particular moment. There are organizations in Cameroon.
Right, they should go first before security.
No, I'm talking about first and security. I'm talking about, but I think that if you light a candle, if you begin by lighting a candle, then the darkness will start dispelling, and then you will see more light. You will see more ways of going forward. Perhaps the security too, you understand, comes along with other accompanying measures.
Okay.
I think something can just be done anytime.
Okay. I end with this message from Charles Kibwa, our Bamenda-based correspondent. He says, thanks for all. I believe it's time, after 3 years keeping our children at home, that we may be making an error. My growing up, I used to hear the best thing to give to your children is education. Now that we are being we are openly deprived from education, which is their fundamental rights. I regret depriving them to education. We will pay dearly for it, be it the government or separatist fighters. Let me believe it's time we reflect the future of these children for tomorrow's future. We want to thank you, Desmond, the two Desmonds, for working so hard to ensure that we produce this program, we bring this program live to you. We equally want to say thank you to you, Eli, who is producing the program, and to you, Jerry, to you, DK Worthy, to you, Pedrin Blanche, and everybody who has done one thing or the other to ensure that this program comes live. To you, Tabby, Tambe Bryant. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.